The unexpected encounter. Captain Sarah Chen stood quietly on the bridge of the UES Prometheus, watching the endless stars through the main viewport. The ship drifted slowly through the void, its hull scarred from years of service, and its engines humming with the tired sound of aging machinery. To anyone watching from the outside, the Prometheus looked like exactly what it was supposed to be, an old research vessel on its final mission before retirement. Sarah had commanded the ship for 8 years, long enough to know every creak and whistle it made. Her crew of 43 souls trusted her completely, though most of them had no idea what their vessel truly carried in its deepest compartments. At 52, Sarah had grey streaks in her black hair and laugh lines around her dark eyes, but her mind remained sharp as a blade. "Captain," called Lieutenant Jamie Park from the communications station, her young voice cutting through the bridge's quiet hum. "I'm detecting multiple contacts on long-range sensors. They're big, and they're heading straight for us." Sarah walked over to Commander Marcus Torres at the tactical station. Marcus was a bear of a man with steady hands and a calm voice that never wavered under pressure. He had served with Sarah for 6 years, and she trusted his judgment more than anyone. "Elsa's, what do you see, Marcus?" she asked. Marcus studied his displays with practiced eyes. 15 contacts, Captain. Each one is massive. The computer identifies them as Corvathian Imperial Navy vessels. 3 dreadnoughts, 8 heavy cruisers, and 4 destroyers. They're moving in perfect formation. Sarah felt ice form in her stomach. The Corvathian Empire was one of the most powerful forces in the galaxy, with technology that made human ships look like toys. Their empire stretched across hundreds of star systems, and they had never shown anything but contempt for humanity. "Distance?" Sarah asked. 200,000 kilometers, and closing. They'll be in weapons range in 20 minutes. Dr. Alina Vasquez looked up from her science station. She was a small woman with intelligent brown eyes and prematurely white hair from years of working with dangerous technology. "Captain, why would the Corvathians be this far from their territory? We're in neutral space." Sarah had been wondering the same thing. The Prometheus was conducting a routine survey mission near the edge of human space, far from any strategic importance. There was no reason for the Corvathians to be here unless they were looking for trouble. "Open a channel," Sarah ordered. The main screen flickered to life, showing the bridge of the lead Corvathian vessel. Admiral Thack stood at the center, his massive form filling the display. Corvathians were impressive creatures, standing nearly 3 meters tall, with thick grey skin and 4 powerful arms. Their faces were angular and harsh, with small black eyes that seemed to burn with constant anger. "Human vessel," Thax rumbled in his deep voice. "You are trespassing in space that now belongs to the Corvathian Empire. Your presence here is an insult to our superior civilization." Sarah stepped forward. "Admiral Thax, I am Captain Sarah Chen of the UES Prometheus. According to all galactic treaties, this is neutral space. We are conducting peaceful research and pose no threat to your empire." Thax laughed, a sound like grinding stone. "Peaceful research? Look at your pathetic vessel, human. Your ship is falling apart. Your technology is centuries behind ours. You are like children playing with broken toys." The fleet's true power behind Thax, other Corvathian officers could be seen working at their stations. Their bridge was enormous, filled with displays showing the human ship from every angle. Sarah could see the tactical readouts that labeled the Prometheus as a minor threat with obsolete weapons and primitive shielding. "Your research vessel carries what you laughingly call weapons," Thax continued. particle beams that could barely scratch our armor, missile systems that our shields will stop without effort. You are insects pretending to be warriors. On the bridge of the Prometheus, the crew worked quietly at their stations. Chief Engineer Robert Singh appeared at Sarah's shoulder. He was a thin man with kind eyes and hands that could fix anything, but Sarah knew he was more than he appeared. Robert had worked on the most classified projects in human space before joining her crew. "Captain," Robert whispered, "the Corvathians are maintaining a distance of 100 kilometers. They're not moving to attack formation yet. They're playing with us." Sarah nodded but kept her attention on the screen. "Admiral Thax, what do you want from us?" "I want you to understand your place in the galaxy," Thax replied. "Humanity has been expanding too quickly, claiming territory that belongs to superior species. You need to learn that you are not welcome among the stars, and if we refuse to leave," Thax's small eyes glowed with satisfaction, "then I will demonstrate why the galaxy fears the Corvathian Empire. Look at your sensors, human. Study my fleet. Each of my dreadnoughts carries enough firepower to level a city. My cruisers could destroy your entire home fleet without breaking formation. Your single aging research vessel stands no chance against the might of Corvathia." Sarah looked around her bridge. Her crew was small but skilled, professionals who had volunteered for dangerous missions far from home. Lieutenant Park was barely 25, fresh from the academy but already proving herself under pressure. Dr. Vasquez was one of the most brilliant scientists in human space, though the Corvathians would never know it. Marcus had fought in 3 wars and never lost a battle, he commanded. "Captain," Jamie reported, "I'm reading energy buildups on their weapon systems. They're charging plasma cannons and loading torpedo tubes." The hidden truth: Sarah made a decision that would change everything. "All hands, this is the captain. Red alert. All departments, prepare for combat operations. We're not running away." Warning lights flashed throughout the ship as the crew sprang into action. The Prometheus might look like an aging research vessel, but Sarah knew better. For 3 years, she had been the only human captain trusted with the galaxy's most dangerous secret. In the engineering section, Robert Singh was working frantically at control panels that looked nothing like standard human technology. Strange devices hummed with barely contained energy, and exotic crystals glowed with their own inner light. The engineering bay had been completely rebuilt around a single massive machine that took up 3 entire decks. "Alina," Robert called to Dr. Vasquez through the ship's communication system. "How long do we have?" 15 minutes before they lose patience," she replied. "But I'm reading massive energy signatures from their fleet. They might not wait that long." Robert nodded grimly. "Then we better be ready. The quantum disruptor is charging now. We'll have one shot, and it has to count." The quantum disruptor was humanity's most closely guarded secret. Only 12 people in the entire galaxy knew it existed, and half of them were on the Prometheus. It had taken the greatest minds in human science 15 years to design and build, using principles that the other galactic civilizations had never discovered. Back on the bridge, Admiral Thax was growing impatient. "Human captain, you have 10 minutes to abandon this sector. Leave now, and I will allow you to return to your pathetic little world. Stay, and I will show you the true power of Corvathian technology." Sarah looked at her crew one more time. They were ready, even though they didn't fully understand what they were preparing for. "Admiral Thax, you're right about one thing. We are different from you, but that difference isn't weakness." "What could you possibly mean?" "You build bigger ships, more powerful weapons, thicker armor. You think strength comes from size and numbers, but humans have always been good at finding new ways to solve old problems. Fax laughed again. Solve problems? Your ship is outnumbered 15-1. Your weapons cannot penetrate our shields. Your armor cannot stop our guns. What problem do you think you can solve? The moment of truth, Sarah smiled for the first time since the encounter began. The problem of how to deal with bullies who think they own the galaxy. The transmission ended, and Sarah turned to her crew. Status report. Quantum disruptor is at 90% charge, Alina reported. All systems are nominal. We can fire on your command, Captain. Engineering. Ready? Robert's voice came through the speakers. Reactor is building to critical levels. Remember, we'll have one shot, and then we'll need 30 minutes to recharge. Marcus looked up from his tactical display. Captain, the Corvathian fleet is moving into attack formation. They're positioning themselves to maximize firepower while protecting their command ships. Sarah nodded. The Corvathians were being professional about their execution. They had overwhelming superiority and could afford to be careful. What they didn't know was that they were about to face something completely outside their experience. The Corvathians connect all their ships through quantum communication networks. Alina explained to the bridge crew. They think it makes them stronger because they can coordinate attacks and share shield power. But it also makes them vulnerable in ways they don't understand. How so? Jamie asked. If we can introduce a quantum cascade into their network, it will spread from ship to ship faster than their computers can respond. The effect will be instantaneous across their entire fleet. The weapon awakens the bridge of the US Prometheus, hummed with quiet tension, as Captain Sarah Chen watched the Corvathian fleet close to firing range. 15 massive warships hung in space like dark angels of destruction, their hulls gleaming, with energy shields and weapon ports glowing with barely contained power. Each ship was a monument to Corvathian engineering, designed to crush any opposition through sheer overwhelming force. Quantum disruptor at full charge, Dr. Elena Vasquez reported from her station. Her hands moved quickly over displays that showed energy readings beyond anything most humans had ever seen. All quantum field generators are synchronized. We're ready to fire, Captain. Sarah nodded, her eyes never leaving the tactical display. The Corvathians had positioned themselves in a perfect attack formation, their ships arranged to maximize firepower while protecting their command vessels. It was textbook fleet tactics, exactly what she would have expected from a species that had conquered half the galaxy. Marcus, target the lead dreadnought, Sarah ordered. Lock onto Admiral Thax's flagship. Commander Marcus Torres worked at his tactical station with practiced efficiency. Target acquired, Captain. Quantum disruptor is locked onto the Corvathian command ship. The targeting computer shows a clear firing solution. In the engineering section, Chief Engineer Robert Singh was monitoring the most complex weapon system ever built by human hands. The quantum disruptor stretched through 3 decks of the ship, its exotic components humming with forces that could reshape reality itself. Strange crystals pulsed with their own inner light, and machines that seemed to bend space around them prepared to unleash humanity's greatest achievement. Alina, Robert called through the ship's communication system. The quantum field is stable. Power levels are at maximum sustainable output. We're as ready as we'll ever be. Dr. Vasquez checked her displays one final time. Robert, remember what we discussed. Once we fire, the cascade effect will spread through their quantum communication network. Every ship and their fleet will be affected simultaneously. How long will it take? Sarah asked. 17 seconds from initial contact to complete fleet neutralization, Alina replied. The quantum cascade will break down the molecular bonds in their ship hulls faster than their shields can adapt. The final confrontation, the main screen, flickered to life, showing Admiral Thax on the bridge of his flagship. The massive Corvathian commander stood surrounded by his officers, all of them radiating confidence and contempt. Behind him, tactical displays showed the human ship as a small, insignificant target. Human Captain, Thax rumbled, you have had your chance to flee. Now you will learn why the galaxy fears the Corvathian Empire. All ships, prepare to fire. Sarah stepped forward, her voice calm and steady. Admiral, before you destroy us, I want you to understand something. Humanity has been studying your technology for 20 years. We've learned a great deal about how your ships work. Studying our technology, Thax laughed, the sound echoing across both bridges. Your primitive science could never comprehend Corvathian engineering. We have mastered forces that your species cannot even detect. You're right, Sarah agreed. We can't build ships like yours. We can't create shields as powerful as yours. We can't match your weapons or your armor. But we can do something you've never thought of. And what is that? Sarah smiled. We can break the rules. On the tactical display, the Corvathian fleet was ready to fire. 15 massive warships had their weapons trained on the single human vessel. Energy readings showed plasma cannons charging to full power and torpedo tubes loading with enough firepower to vaporize a moon. Captain Lieutenant Jamie Park called from the communications station. I'm detecting massive energy spikes from their entire fleet. They're about to fire. Sarah looked around her bridge one final time. Her crew was ready, their faces calm despite the impossible odds. They trusted her completely, even though they didn't fully understand what was about to happen. All stations. Firing sequence initiated, Sarah announced. Alina, you have the con. Dr. Vasquez moved to the center of the bridge and placed her hand on a control panel that appeared completely ordinary. Quantum disruptor ready to fire. Target locked. Initiating. Cascade protocol. The thunder strikes the US Prometheus shuddered as power flowed through its hidden systems. Every light on the ship dimmed as the quantum disruptor drew energy from the main reactor. In the engineering section, Robert Singh watched readings that pushed the laws of physics to their absolute limits. Quantum field generated, Alina announced. Cascade matrix locked onto target. Firing in 3.2. 1. The weapon fired with no visible effect. There was no beam of energy, no missile launch, no dramatic display of power. The quantum disruptor worked on principles that existed beyond normal space-time, targeting the fundamental forces that held matter together. On the bridge of the Corvathian flagship, Admiral Thax was about to give the order to fire when his tactical officer suddenly screamed in alarm. Admiral, something's wrong with the quantum network. I'm reading massive cascade failures across all connected systems. Thax spun around to look at his displays. The quantum communication network that connected all Corvathian ships was showing impossible readings. Energy patterns that shouldn't exist were spreading through their systems like a plague. What's happening? Thax demanded. I don't know, sir. The cascade is spreading through our quantum links. It's affecting every ship in the fleet. On the Prometheus, Sarah and her crew watched in fascination as the Corvathian fleet began to come apart. The quantum cascade was spreading from ship to ship through their own communication systems. breaking down the molecular bonds that held their mighty vessels together. "The cascade is working perfectly," Alina reported. "It's spreading through their network at the speed of light. Every ship in their fleet is affected. The first Corvathian dreadnought simply ... dissolved. Its massive hull, armor plating, and weapons systems broke down at the molecular level as the quantum cascade tore apart the forces that held them together. The ship didn't explode or burn. It just came apart like sand in the wind." "My God," whispered Marcus, staring at his tactical display. "It's working. The entire fleet is breaking down." The impossible victory won by one, the Corvathian warships succumbed to the quantum cascade. 15 vessels that had dominated the galaxy for centuries were reduced to clouds of dissociated atoms in less than 30 seconds. The most powerful fleet in Corvathian history was gone, leaving only empty space and the single human research vessel. Admiral Thax had barely enough time to realize what was happening before his own ship began to dissolve around him. His last transmission was a single word: impossible. Sarah watched the tactical display as the readings confirmed what her eyes could hardly believe. 15 Corvathian warships had been completely destroyed by a single shot from her aging research vessel. The quantum cascade had worked exactly as Alina had predicted, using the aliens' own technology against them. "Status report," Sarah ordered. "All Corvathian vessels destroyed," Marcus reported, his voice filled with wonder. "No survivors detected. The quantum cascade was 100% effective." "Engineering nominal," Robert's voice came through the speakers. "The quantum disruptor performed flawlessly. We could fire again in 30 minutes if necessary." Sarah nodded, then turned to Jamie. "Lieutenant, are you detecting any other ships in the area?" "Negative, Captain. Long-range sensors show no other contacts. We're alone." Alina looked up from her science station. "Captain, I'm detecting a single escape pod from the Corvathian flagship. It launched just before the cascade reached the ship." Sarah considered this. One survivor to tell the tale might be exactly what humanity needed. Tractor beam, bring it aboard. The new reality, 20 minutes later. Admiral Thax stood in the cargo bay of the Prometheus, his massive form seeming small and broken. The proud Corvathian commander who had threatened to destroy humanity now looked at the humans with a mixture of fear and confusion. "How?" was all he could manage to say. Sarah stood before him, flanked by her crew. "Admiral, for 20 years, humanity has been dismissed as primitive and weak. Every species in the galaxy has looked at us the same way you did. They see our small ships and old technology and assume we're not worth their attention. But you destroyed my entire fleet with a single shot." "We did. The quantum disruptor uses principles that your science has never discovered. While you were building bigger ships and more powerful weapons, we were learning to manipulate the fundamental forces of reality itself." Thax's small eyes stared at the humans in disbelief. "Your ship looks like scrap metal. Your weapons appear primitive. How were you hiding such power?" Alina stepped forward. "Admiral, that's exactly the point. We learned a long time ago that the best way to win a fight is to make your enemy underestimate you. Every species in the galaxy thinks they know what humanity is capable of. They're all wrong. The Prometheus isn't the only ship like this," Sarah continued. "Humanity has been building quantum-capable vessels for 5 years. We have a fleet of ships that look like harmless research vessels, cargo haulers, and passenger transports. Each one carries enough firepower to destroy any fleet in the galaxy. The message seerer activated the ship's recording system. "Admiral, I'm going to send you home with a message for your empire and every other species that thinks humanity is weak. The message is simple. Leave us alone." Thax listened as Sarah continued. "Humanity doesn't want to conquer the galaxy. We don't want to rule over other species. We just want to be left in peace to explore and grow. But if anyone threatens us, they'll discover that we're not the primitive species they think we are. The Corvathian Empire will never accept this," Thax replied. "We will send more fleets. We will hunt down every human ship in the galaxy." Sarah smiled. "Admiral, you're welcome to try. But remember what happened here today. You brought 15 of your most powerful warships against one human vessel. How do you think your empire will fare against our entire fleet?" As the escape pod was launched back toward Corvathian space, Sarah stood on the bridge of the Prometheus and looked out at the stars. The galaxy had just learned that humanity was not the weak species they had assumed. The quiet research vessel had revealed its true nature, and nothing would ever be the same. Captain Elena asked, "What happens now?" Sarah smiled. "Now we continue. Our mission, we explore, we learn, and we grow. And if anyone else wants to test us, they'll discover the same thing the Corvathians did today." The UES Prometheus turned away from the debris field that had once been the most powerful fleet in the galaxy. Its engines hummed with the same tired sound they always had, and its hull still showed the scars of long service. To anyone watching, it looked like nothing more than an aging research vessel continuing its peaceful mission. But the galaxy now knew the truth. Humanity had arrived, and they were far more dangerous than anyone had ever imagined. The thunder had struck, and its echo would be heard across the stars for generations to come. Asterisk.